Well, welcome. Thank you for showing up today for your yoga practice, 60 minutes of Vinyasa flow. We're literally going to flow today. We're going to be all over the mat today. And the idea is to kind of release that sense of predictions, release the sense of expectations, and sometimes even release the sense of control of how we want the practice to be, and just letting the practice instead be what it needs to be and teach us something about ourselves, our body, and maybe be fully focused in the moment that we completely forgot that we are on a certain time to finish the practice. So let's go ahead and take a moment right there in a comfortable seated position, just a few moments here to ground ourselves and ground our attention, to ground our awareness. Just grounding our breath. Feel free to manipulate the breath. Maybe you need to take a couple deep breaths and then let the breath go into a natural state. And every time you exhale, consciously choose to release tension in your body. Your legs, your hips, your core. Relax them a little bit more. Your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your throat. Relax them a little bit more. Your jaw, your lips, your cheeks, your eyes, your eyebrows, your forehead, your ears, your head. Relax them all a little bit more. Relax the breath. Arrive to the exact moment right here, right now. This is where you are. This is where life is happening and you are fully in it. And like usual, ask the question, how do I feel right now? How do I feel today? What's bothering me? What's worrying me? And if you know you have done your best, then please let it go. Trust in something bigger. Just a couple more breaths. Continue to settle. And the next transition can be done with your eyes closed if you choose to do that. We're just going to go into child's pose. So feel free to open your hips, your knees a little wider so you are stretching a little bit more the hips. We're going to reach the arms in front of us. We're going to drop the forehead into the mat. And just give yourself there a moment to really let your hips feel heavy, back towards the heels. Observe any tension in the shoulders and the back of the neck, inner thighs. And just soften a little bit more. Just 2 breaths. Continue settle. Feel the ground underneath your palms, your head, your legs, your feet. And from child's pose, just gently move the hips side to side to kind of stretch in the inner thighs and your groin. It's a very, very gentle movement. And the more you press the pelvis back to the heels, you're also stretching gently the lower back. So just one more breath here, side to side on the pelvis. Good, and then slowly release back to center the pelvis and walk your hands back to help you lift yourself. And let's go into that tabletop. Classical way to warm up the body, taking care of the spine, taking care of the hips, connecting movement with breath. We're going to take an inhale. We're going to open the spine. As you exhale, we're going to round the spine. Feel the weight of your body on your palms and fingers. Continue moving and breathing. And try to move a little slower. If you think you're going slow, try to go a little bit slower. I think our yoga practice is one of the few places in today's day that we are encouraged and allowed to actually go way slower. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to be. There's nothing you need to do to be anything, just as you are. Just feel all the aches and discomforts in the body, just feeling all the delicious stretch, feeling all the challenge of this strengthen. Just everything is part of the practice. Just 2 more rounds, nice and slow. Good. And then neutralize your spine here for a moment. And walk your hands maybe a few or a couple inches in front of you, and just kind of gently rock into plank with your knees down. Just a gentle awakening of the core here. And just try not to collapse the head. Maybe bring your gaze halfway forward. Just kind of draw the shoulder blades a little bit closer together. And try to draw the lower belly in. So you feel your core engage. You feel the strength of the upper back. Good, and then exhale, press back into that child's pose. And you can press your left foot on top of the arch of your right foot. It's almost like a gentle crossing for the ankles here. And we're just going to do that one more time. Inhale, rolling forward into that plank with the knees down. Just to challenge the core. So you feel the weight of the pelvis sinking down, but the core is trying to keep it up. Notice the upper back, notice the breath, notice the shoulders. And as you rock back into child's pose, now bring your right foot on top of the arch of your left foot. Pressing back. Good. One more inhale here. Good. As you exhale back into that plank with the knees on the floor. Stay here for one breath. Notice what can you be a little bit more engaged. Feel the challenge, but feel empowered. And slowly make your way into your abdomen, however way you need to get there. Bring your hands behind you. And we're going to come into locust pose. You can interlace the fingers, reach the palms back, gently hovering the feet off the ground. And try to be very gentle on the first one. You don't have to go 100% on the first one, maybe 20% on the first one. Just a gentle warm up. Good, release the hands by your side. Drop the head down, release the feet on the ground. And then lift the chest now for cobra or baby cobra. Maintain your pelvis on the floor, sacrum towards the heels, shoulders relax. Release the forehead down, chest down, and then tuck your toes under and press back to your knees and continue traveling the hips up and back for our first downward facing dog. We're awakening the body very slowly and very gently, so you're welcome to super bend the knees and focus more on grounding your body through your toes and your fingers, all of them. Make sure your index finger is pressing to the mat along with the thumb. Make sure your toes are spread out. And as you ground yourself through your feet and your hands, press your sitting bones a little higher and back to the sky. Good, one more inhale here. Now, as you exhale from here, bring your right foot forward between the hands, nice and slow. And drop the left knee down, low lunge. Just take your time. If you want to use props, you can place your hands on top of blocks. Otherwise, hands on fingertips. And adjust your feet. Let your pelvis kind of tilt forward. And lean your chest back. Gentle stretch in the front of the left hip. Early morning, this one always feels intense. And if it doesn't, then you should celebrate. Nice and slow, we're gonna press the pelvis back. Half split, extending the front leg, letting the chest drop down and forward. Stretching the hamstrings, so be kind on that right leg. Micro bend the knees as far as you need to. Good. Now rebend the front knee and press back into your downward facing dog. So if you have blocks, keep them back by your side. And take one breath here in downward facing dog. Once again, very gentle warm up. Bring your left foot forward between the hand for low lunge on the left side. If you need props, make sure you gather your props. And we're gonna lean back with our chest and feeling and breathing into that right hip. Just give yourself a moment, using the breath to relax. Good. We're gonna go to the half split on the left leg. So as you bring your pelvis back, the front leg extends. And then you try to bring your chest forward and down. Breathing into the hamstrings, breathing in. Good, and then as you exhale, rebend that front knee. And we're gonna press back into our downward facing dog. Very good. So far, so good. Nothing out of the ordinary, just kind of awakening slowly the core, the chest, the pelvis, the legs. Take an inhale. Now, as you exhale, look forward. You can walk, you can step, you can jump to the top of your mat. Standing forward fold with your hips right above your feet. So let your feet be as wide as the hips. We're going to drop the head here. We're going to interlace our fingers behind and bring the shoulders a little closer and back, the shoulder blades, for a gentle stretch of the chest. Lean into your toes and please honor whatever your legs need here. If you need support, bend the knees. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, release your hands down and come all the way up to standing, reaching arms overhead. Long stretch. Good. Do a little side bend to the right. Keep your pelvis in the center of the mat and kind of pressing slightly forward. All your toes are spread out and grounding you through the ground. And then slowly inhale, center. As you exhale, side bend to the left. Breathe in. As you exhale, come back to center. Release the hands, forward fold. All right, we're gonna do that one more round. So stay here and stand in forward fold, feeling the stretch of the legs. Bring your hands behind you. Feel free to grab opposite elbows or interlacing the fingers for a deep shoulder stretch. You can bring the shin to the chest for stretching the back of your neck. Good, and then slowly release the hand. We're gonna come to a deep stretch, standing hands overhead. And notice how you reach the arms up. Your legs are grounding you, your feet are down, your core is strong. Side bend to the right, inhale. Exhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Very good. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine halfway up. And then long exhale, stepping back into the plank. Now, you can now try your plank with the knees off the floor. But if you prefer with the knees on the floor, please do honor that. Nice and slow, transitioning into the floor. You can skip the chaturangas if that's something that you don't want to do today. Once your abdomen is fully on the floor, extend your hands behind you, hover the legs off the floor, locust pose, Shalabhasana. Shalabhasana, you can have the option to interlace the fingers for another gentle shoulder stretch. Good, release everything down for a moment, head on the floor, chest on the floor, hands and feet on the floor. Bend your arms and bring your palms by your side. We're gonna do that cobra pose now. When you're ready, inhale, lift in. Feel the strength of the spine, so much that maybe if you were to get your hands off the floor, you're still lifting your spine. Beautiful, release the hands down, the chest down, my bad, and press back to downward facing dog. I was focused so much in my hands that I say hands. It happens. Good. Now bring your right leg up and back as you inhale, three-legged dog. Just notice the challenge there to keep the balance. Notice what is being shift and see if you can find a little bit of alignment, a little bit of stillness, and a little bit of comfort. Good. Bend the top knee. We're going to open and stack the right hip for that gentle stretch of the front of the right hip. So as you bend the top knee, try to bring that right foot a little closer to your body. Squeeze it in and press your pelvis gently forward. And then see if you can drag your left heel a little closer down to the floor as you keep pushing the floor away. Not an easy pose. Extend the top leg, square the pelvis. Bring your right foot forward between the hands for that low lunge again. As you drop the left knee down, this time you have the option to bring your hands above the head and lean back. Breathe in. Good. As you exhale here, release your hands on the floor. And we are going to come into Skandasana on the right side. So that's the deep squat. So our entire body is going to open to the left side of your mat. So walk your hands to the left. Gently bring your right toes to point to the left corner of your mat and then lift the back leg and find that deep squat here in Skandasana. Breathing in. Good. As you exhale, come back into that low lunge, dropping that back knee, walking that right foot where it needs to go. Extend the front leg back into that split. Now from here, bring your hands outside your right leg. It's like a gentle twist. So your left arm is maybe pressing into that right leg. Maintain the pelvis in the center of the mat. Good. And then walk the hands back to center. Rebend the front knee, stepping back into that downward facing dog. So far, so good. A little awkward, weird there, but you survive. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, three-legged dog on the left. Once again, assess how much effort and how much have shifted weight, right? Because we're now in 3 points of contact instead of 4. And then open and bend that top hip. And just let it feel a little bit of awakening on the left front hip, pressing the pelvis slightly forward. Squeeze that top feet into your body. That heel is almost like trying to touch your back. One more inhale. Very nice. Exhale, extend the top leg, square the pelvis, and bring your left foot forward between the hands for that low lunge. Right? Take your time, and then you can reach the arms overhead. And if reaching the arms overhead is not working for you today, please do any variation that works. Hands on the thighs or hands on the floor. Good. We're going to release the hands down here. We're going to go into that Skandasana. We're going to rotate our body to the right side. So left toes points to the right corner of the mat, and then lifting the back leg, we rotate our chest and hands to the right and come into that Skandasana. Good. And maybe you're facing the back of the screen, and that's okay. One more inhale. And if coming all the way down, remember you can just come a little higher with your pelvis. Good, let's go back into that low lunge. Take your time as you gently rotate your joints, your feet, your legs. And then let's come into that half split, pelvis back, extending the front leg. Now we're gonna walk all the, both hands to the left. So your right arm is gently pressing perhaps into that right leg, left leg. Man, I'm all messy today. Breathing in. Breathing out, walk your hands back to center, rebending the knee, stepping back to dog. Deep inhale. Long exhale. Good. Take an inhale, bring your right leg all the way up, three-legged dog. And then as you exhale, low lunge on the right side again. Right foot forward, left knee drops. Arms overhead, inhale. Now we're gonna engage the core a little bit here, and I'm gonna give you two options. Option one, you keep the hands on the pelvis. Or option two, you're gonna reach the hands back. So this is how it's gonna look. So from hands reaching up, option one, hands in pelvis or hands reaching back, we're gonna press our pelvis back as we come into the half split. And this is without using the hands, which encourage more the use of the core. So if you're doing it with your hands on the hips, you're still having to move slowly. So let's do that 3 more rounds. So if we did 1, so we have 2 more to go. Hands up, inhale. Exhale, choose your hands where you want them and rock back into the half split. Exhale. Inhale, low lunge, last round. And then exhale into the half split. Good. Release that half split. Last here, low lunge. Release the hands on the floor. Let's go into Skandasana again. So hands into the left, opening a whole body, deep squat on the right side. And if coming all the way down is too much for the body, this is how you can also do it. You can come into that halfway down, hands in front of you, okay? Good. Then come back into that low lunge. And this time, press your right foot back and keep the plank with the knees on the floor, just how we did at the beginning of the practice. Nice and slow, make your way into your abdomen. Once you touch the floor, Shalabhasana, lifting the body up. Exhale, release the body down. Take an inhale here. Settle the hands. Let's go inhale for Cobra. Take your time. And then releasing the chest down, stepping back to dog. Take your time, moving slowly. Let it feel nourishing. There is no race. Take a couple breaths. Check in with your breath. Check in with your mind. Check with your body. Where are you at? Are you here or somewhere else? Come back here. Good. Let's take an inhale. Reach your left foot up and back. Three-legged dog. Slow transition up in that top hip, bending that top knee. And then extend that hip, extend the leg, low lunge on the left side. Dropping that right knee down, arms overhead, inhale. Now choose your variation, right? We're gonna do the half split with our hands to engage our core, extending the front leg, letting the chest drop down. Inhale, low lunge. Let your breath tell you how much time you have to move, right? So the longer the breath, the slower you can go. Back into half split. We have one more round. Inhale. And exhale. Very nice. Inhale back to that low lunge. And then as you exhale, hands to the right, adjust your feet, lifting the back leg for that Skandasana on the left side. Deep squat on the left. Come back into that low lunge. Arm. And then from here, we're going to press back into that plank with the knees on the ground. Breathing in. Make your transition perhaps into your abdomen nice and slow. Could be a variation of Chaturanga if you like. Once you touch the ground, Shalavasana, long inhale. Exhale, release the body down. Settle your hands as you inhale, coming into that cobra. A little repetition, right? And then exhale back into downward facing dog. Breathing in and breathing out. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Take an inhale, look forward. As you exhale, you can walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Standing forward fold. Keep your feet as wide as the hips. And once again, bring your hands behind you or grab opposite elbows. Just kind of letting that stretch feel what it needs to get the most. Let your breath feel relaxed. The neck is relaxed. And then as you inhale, release the hands, come all the way up to standing. Arms overhead. A gentle side bend to the right. Come back to center, inhale. Side bend to the left. Come back to center, inhale. And then as you exhale, let's go into our chair pose. I'm going to do a variation where I'm going to rest my hand on the thighs. But take any variation of chair pose that feels right for your body. Breathing in. Breathing out. Good. Now lean into your left foot. We're going to come into a twist for high lunge. So your right leg is going to squeeze slowly all the way back. So you find your high lunge with your legs, but you're going to release the right hand down on the floor or a block. We're going to twist to the left. Breathing here. Breathing out. Now we're going to do tripod side plank. So drop the right heel, pivot the right heel to the right, and rotate your left toes completely 90 degrees out to the left, and walk that left foot perhaps a little bit to the center of the mat in front of the pelvis. And press both feet down to the floor to lift the bottom hip and extend your left arm up. Side plank. Deep inhale. Long exhale. One more breath. Good. And then release that top hand down. Walk your left foot back to that full plank now, both legs back. Take your weight into your abdomen. You can drop the knees in here, nice and slow. Inhale, Shalavasana. Exhale, drop down. As you inhale, find your cobra. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Just a couple breaths. The breath, it's always telling you what's going on with the body. So if the breath starting to feel short and shallow, it's okay. It's just we're moving and we're doing complex things. So maybe it feels agitated. This is where we bring our awareness and consciousness to lengthen the exhale to help us remain cool. Body temperature-wise, I meant that. You're already cool. Let's do that on the other side. So take an inhale, look forward, walk or step to the top of your mat, standing forward fold. And then give yourself a shoulder stretch. Choose your best option. You can grab opposite elbows if that's something different you want to try this time, if you were grabbing the knuckles. Just kind of switch it up a little bit. Lean into the toes, squeeze the belly in. Let the head drop, like literally the head dropping. Good. And then release the hands, come all the way up to standing. Take a long inhale here. And then side bend to the right, exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, chair pose. Find your chair pose. So you're pressing the pelvis back, your knees are tracking back, and your feet and your toes are grounding you here. And we're gonna do that high lunge with a twist now, right? So we're gonna lean into that right leg, and we're gonna kick that left foot back to find the high lunge with our legs. And releasing that left hand down on the block or the floor or fingertips, and twist yourself to the right. You can keep your hand into the pelvis, the thigh, or reach it up. Bring a moment your awareness into that left shoulder and see if you can bring relaxation on the left shoulder. I know the left shoulder is active. I'm not talking fully relaxed, but what I'm trying is to reduce the overwork that when sometimes we add into that shoulder. Pivot your left heel to the left. Open your right toes, 90 degrees down, and walk that foot into the front of the pelvis and find your side plank here. Hand can be reaching up. You can keep it on the thigh. You can keep it on the pelvis. And try to open the chest to the sky, right? Sometimes we close the chest. The more you open the chest, the pelvis press forward and push the 3 points of contact, right? You have 2 feet in one hand, just like that 3 downward facing dog. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, close your tripod side plank back into full plank. Deep inhale. You can drop the knees, take your weight slowly down into your abdomen. Once everything's touching down, take an inhale, find your Savasana. Exhale, release everything down. Inhale, find your baby cobra or full cobra. Starting to feel perhaps maybe a little stronger or more comfortable with these back bends. And then exhale, pressing back into child's pose for a couple breaths. Just let the practice here for a moment. Feel in the whole body. And take a deep inhale through the nose. Long exhale through the nose. Very good. Last breath in child's pose for now. Make your way into downward facing dog. Downward facing dog is such an amazing pose in so many levels. It's an inversion. We're strengthening the upper body. We're stretching the lower body. It's just really challenging. So appreciate here for a moment how far you have come with this pose from the very first practice to where you are today. One more breath.
But let's come into high lunge. So feel free to rise your right leg up and back. And go into that transition vinyasa, right knee forward, drop in that right foot in between the hands and come all the way up, arms overhead. Now we're gonna do a similar sequence that we have done so far, but a little bit off the floor. So this is gonna be engaging more the thighs, engaging more the core, and you need to be more mindful of the quality of your breath in order to feel that the flow is actually soothing your nerve system and not stressing you out, okay? So take an inhale, reaching arms up. As you exhale, and this is where you might have to deal with the annoyance of the changes here, we're gonna go into pyramid pose. So if you take a look at my back foot, my hips are square and both of my 10 toes are pointing the front of the mat. When I'm going to pyramid pose, my back heel is gonna drop in almost like I'm doing a warrior one, but I have to shorten my stand and extend my front leg. I'm gonna open my right foot a little bit more to the right and my left foot a little bit more to the left. And that allows me to keep my hips square. And then I'm gonna come halfway forward for pyramid pose. So pyramid pose standing is a little wider than hip distance from high lunge. And we're gonna do this a few times. So remember when we were in low lunge into half split, we're doing something similar, but standing, we have to adjust the feet. So a lot of talking just to give you the foundation, but then let's go back into high lunge. Inhale, adjust your feet. And then exhale, pyramid pose. This is where you get out of the square mindset. Inhale back into the high lunge, lifting the back heel. Exhale, pyramid pose. Release your left hand on the floor or come into your fingertips or grab a block. We're gonna twist here to the right. So you can bring your right hand into the hips. Whatever you need to do. Maybe you need to widen the feet a little bit more to allow for that rotation of the spine without bringing your hip off center. So keep the hips center. And you can shorten your stand if you want to feel a little bit more stronger and stable on the legs. You can come a little higher on your block. Just kind of feel the body. Right hip presses back and towards the center. Good. Release that twist back into that pyramid pose. And then come all the way up to the left for warrior two. All over the place today. Find your warrior two. A lot of adjusting, right? For the feet. You realize how standing poses are so complex in alignment. Reverse the warrior here. Take a moment from hand reaches up and back. Now, as you exhale, Trikonasana, triangle pose. So extending the front leg. Keep the chest open. Make sure it's pointing out to the side or up to the sky. Press the pelvis a little bit to the front, center of the mat. Good. Take an inhale, come all the way up, and let's go into star pose. So star is simply keeping the feet a little bit wider than hips, a little bit a lot, almost like doing a prasarita. You're going to reach your hands up. So feel strong, reaching the fingertips away from your body, grounding yourself through the heels. We're going to do Skandasana on the left side. So we're going to move the body all the way to the left down. So Skandasana all the way down, or you can stay on the high Skandasana with your hands in front of you. Take a moment here. Press, come all the way up into that star pose, arms out to the side. And let's do a standing wide-legged forward fold, prasarita here. So hands can slide behind the legs to grab the ankle joints. You can grab your big toes. You can grab behind opposite elbows, interlacing fingers. So many choices. Which one feels best? Lean into the toes, lift the sitting bones, let the head drop. 2 breaths in here. Good. Release the hands back into that star pose. And now bring the heels in, toes out, a little bit of goddess pose. You can bring the palms together in the heart center and just kind of let the pelvis go down, but the crown of the head straight up. Spine is nice and tall. Breathing in, breathing out. One more breath. Good. Press all the way up with your legs. And let's just step to the front of the mat for a moment. Mountain pose. We did a lot in there, like a lot. So give yourself a moment to just feel the practice. Deep inhale, long exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up. And then exhale, press back into your plank. Deep inhale. Long exhale. Make your way into the floor. Vinyasa or no vinyasa, we'll leave that up to you. Once everything's down on the floor, take an inhale for Shalabhasana. Feel a little stronger. Exhale, release everything down. Inhale, any type of cobra. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Very nice. We're almost there. We're gonna close it on the left side. Take an inhale, reach your left foot up and back. And find your high lunge. Left foot comes in between the hands. Settle your feet and reach in arms overhead. Take your time. Take a deep breath in. You got this. As you exhale, pyramid pose. Adjust your standing. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Just appreciate the nuances between the two and how you need to be more present and aware of the body. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. From here, release your right hand down on the ground. Fingertips are blocked. Adjust your standing if you need to. Twisting to the left, extending that left arm up. Keep the left hip in the center of the mat. Hug that left hip in. Maybe widen your feet a little bit more. Just feel that you're creating space for the body. Crown of the head to the top of the mat. Breathing. As you exhale, undo that twist. Come all the way up to warrior two, right? All over the place. That transition is really awkward, but it's fun because you have to be aware of your body. Good, let's reverse the warrior. Top hand reaches up and back. Exhale, come into that triangle pose. Feel the stretch of that left inner thigh. Stretching the right side, the left side of the torso. Good, come all the way up into your star position, adjusting the feet. And then let's do a Skandasana on the right side. So I'm going to show you the option one. Coming halfway down, right, with hands here, or you can come all the way down. So just kind of acknowledge what the body needs. One inhale. And then as you exhale, come all the way up back into that star pose. A lot of legs in there to leave your body. Forward fold, any variation with your hands. You can even drop them in front of you. The most important thing here is one, the breath. Chin to the chest, stretching the back of the neck. Your body weight is not collapsing all on the heels. You find a neutral spot between the toes and the heels. You scoop the lower belly in, and you're trying to bring your hips up to the sky. One more breath. Come all the way up slowly into your star pose. Really stretching, reaching. And then find your goddess pose, heels in, palms together. Perhaps you go for that option, dropping the pelvis. You can gently go side to side, lean back, right? We tend to lean forward. One more breath. And then press to come all the way back to that star. And we'll go into the top of the mat for that mountain pose. Feel all the stuff that we have been doing, how it feels in your heart. It feels like a little cardio. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. And then exhale, release your feet back to downward facing dog. Deep inhale. And long exhale. Come back to your knees in here for tabletop for a moment. Let's do 3 rounds of cat-cow. Let's reconnect to our breath. Settle those hands, settle those knees and feet. As you inhale, we open our chest, lifting the tailbone. Very slow movement, start from the tailbone, rounding the spine. When you feel the movements going between the shoulder blades, then slowly drop the head and look back. Inhale, lifting the tailbone. The head is lifting last. Moving very slowly in this pose can take this pose into another dimension. Round exhale. Inhale. Good, find your neutral spine. I'll give you 2 options here. We're gonna go into pigeon. So if you like to do pigeon on your back, this is a good transition to kick the legs out and transition into your back. Otherwise, bring your right knee towards the right hand and open your right foot to the left. And just kind of settle here for that pigeon. And if you were on your back, we're gonna cross the right leg on top of the left thigh for that 4 figure. And then just gently hugging that left knee into the chest. We're gonna stay here for just a moment, just enough to breathe into that right outer hip. And just a moment for you to continue doing the best to ground yourself into this moment through each breath. Where can I let go of tension right now in my body? One more inhale. Now, if you're doing pigeon on your back, you can kick both legs straight up to the sky and shake your legs. And if you are doing pigeon coming from downward facing dog, then go back into that downward facing dog, nice and slow. And we didn't do pigeon from downward facing dog. I misspoke. We did it from tabletop, but you get the point. All right, so if you're doing pigeon on your back, switch side. And now from downward facing dog, you can drop the knees down into that tabletop. Now from here, find your pigeon on the left. The pelvis are always telling us the truth. Hips don't lie, just like Shakira says. So give yourself a moment there to embrace that truth with kindness, compassion. This is what we go into our yoga, right? To feel our body, to nourish the mind, and to connect to our breath, and to be more in the moment, less in our heads, less planning and more feeling. One more inhale. Now, if you're doing pigeon on your back, once again, kick both legs straight up to the sky. And for those of us who did pigeon from tabletop, now sit on that left hip, bring your right leg forward, and let's join our other yogis on our backs. Take your time. And now, everybody, let's just hug the knees into our chest, gently rock side to side. We've done plenty of twists. We've done plenty of extensions of the spine. So I want to focus a little bit more on the pelvis in a calm, relaxing way. So release the feet on the floor and bring the heels together and knees apart. Please rest your hands anywhere that feels intuitively right for you in this moment. And close your eyes and let your breath settle. If you need to adjust the chest, please do. Try to feel that this is a moment for you to really, really slow down even more in all the senses of what it will mean to be deeply slow in this moment. The breath, the mind, the body. It's just slowing down. Finding a moment to feel more familiar with stillness after all this movement. Finding that balance of action and inaction. And even what we call inaction is still an action. We are choosing to stay in this position for stillness. Gently scan your body and see where can you continue letting go of tension. Shoulders, hips, legs, your arms, your face. One more breath here. And then slowly close your knees. Let the knees rest against each other, feet a little bit wider than hip. And then we're going to go straight into our final relaxation, Savasana, for just a couple minutes of silence. So take your time there to find your Savasana. Just extending the legs in front of you. Arms resting by your side. Letting your feet and your toes and your legs feel relaxed. Your pelvis is relaxed. Your breath and your chest is relaxed. Your face and your head deeply relaxed. Allow the ground underneath you and your yoga mat support your whole body effortlessly.
Is there anything right now in your life that you feel that you can't figure it out, even though you have done your best and you're still trying? And maybe the next thing for you to try is to let go. Because you've done everything within your hands. Sometimes when we let go of control and embrace the fluidity of life, we might be surprised by the end results. They might even surpass our expectations. So notice whenever you feel that you are trying too hard on something, or you're becoming, I don't like the word obsessed, but when you're becoming too much invested on something and it just seems like be stuck, I usually take that as a sign for me, okay, I'll take a step back, relax, and release this to be whatever it needs to be. Sometimes in our practice, we come with an expectations and a need to be what it needs to be. It's kind of nice sometimes to let go of that control and just let the practice take its own flow. And taking a deep inhale, coming back to your whole body, to the space that surrounds you. Feel the breath in your chest, feel the breath in your lungs. And gently move the head side to side, stretching the side of the neck. Feel free to move your fingers, your toes, your wrists, your ankles. And then when you're ready, reach the arms overhead for a little or long stretch. What a wonderful day. And then as you exhale, hug those knees into your chest. And gently rock side to side. Let the lower back feel the support of the ground. Roll into your right side slowly and stay here for 2 breaths with your eyes closed. Pay attention to everything you need to pay attention after this practice. How you feel, your muscles, your breath, your mind. And then gently press your palms into the ground to help you lift up. And join me for a comfortable seated as we end the practice with a few rounds of breath. Our precious breath. So feel free to wiggle side to side, shaking that you are actually sitting on your sitting bones, crown of the head nice and tall. Hands and palms in any way that feels right. And continue relaxing the energetic feel of who you are a little bit more. Bring your awareness to the center of your abdomen and take an inhale and feel the expansion of your belly. And then as you exhale, release and notice that gentle belly pressing towards the spine. And one more like that. Inhale. Pushing that belly out. And as you exhale, pulling that belly in. And then release the breath to be natural. Palms together, heart center, gentle bow. I really hope you give yourself a moment to honor how you're feeling right now. And see if you can allow this feeling to last for however long it needs to. Helping you to feel grounded, centered, but mainly supported. And trusting that once you've done your best, it's a good time to let go and trust.
Infinite gratitude for showing up today for your practice, for prioritizing your well-being, and for doing that with me.